Morning. Well, it has been a week when my husband and I have lovingly shared wipeout viruses with each other. So I've dragged my backside out of bed and decided to go somewhere local today. Unfortunately, local equals woodland, which is kind of not my bag.
No.
So we'll see how things go because I've got something specific in mind.
In the next 10 minutes, I would like to share with you one of the steepest learning curves I've had in a very long time. And after hours of muttering under my breath whilst editing, it went really well. Well, for a newbie, welcome to my first fungi shoot.
It's mid-October, and as you can see, the trees don't really have their autumn coats on yet. I reckon a good 2 to 3 weeks and this will be glorious.
But for now, it's just a grey day.
Now let me explain what the heck I'm doing and the kit I've got to help me do it. I'm here today to try and spot and shoot fungi. Now, I don't have the eye for it, so it's going to take me a little bit of time. There's some obvious specimens around me, but they aren't in the finest of states. What I'm looking for is one that hasn't been trampled on by walkers or dogs, a fine specimen or two. In order to help me shoot this, I have got a tripod that I can actually invert the head because I want to get as low as possible to the ground, and a few other bits of kit. I've just invested in a mini tripod that I can actually get really low with some lights on or with you on if necessary. Now, with those lights in mind, I have got 2 lights like this and they actually dial in any colour that I wish to have. I just need to make sure that when I use these, I have the same Kelvin reading on them. Now, what I'm going to be using these for is uplighting, so that on whatever specimen I choose, I can highlight those gills. So one of those lights is going to be doing that job. The other one, I'm going to be moving around by hand to make sure I've illuminated my subject properly, because quite frankly, in here, it's really quite dark. Now today I'm going to be using my Canon R5 and a 100mm macro lens. Now the R5 allows me to do something called focus bracketing, which when I enable it, I can choose the number of shots that I wish to have, anywhere from 1 to 999. I'm going to use 50 for this particular one today. And it shows me the increments, the focus increments that I can use. That basically sets the distance between the shots in the setting I'm using. Now, I obviously want it to be on the narrow end because I want to make sure that I'm focused front to fairly near the back if possible. And I don't know whether to go to 2 or 3 because I've not really done this before. So I'm going to go to 3 and hope for the best. I am also wanting to have exposure smoothing on. What that does is it controls the light in between shots so I don't suddenly have a darker scene or a lighter scene, which is going to upset my focus stack when I get back home. Now the first thing I need to do is obviously spot some specimens, and my husband kindly yesterday decided he was going to come and do a bit of scouting for me. What I need to be doing is trying to spot bits of wood that are potentially rotting.
Of course, what may be a fine specimen one day has completely gone the next. So, my secret weapon was to speak to a friendly dog walker. She was amazing, signposting me to some great specimens of porcelain fungi. Yes, I did have to look that up.
Okay, I found a specimen or two. This bit here is the path, so I'm going to annoy a few people coming through. But essentially, it's these. And what I need to do is get my camera really low down here for a 50-shot focus stack and illuminate it. The gills look wicked, just whether or not I can pull this off. This is my setup here. I've got myself down very, very low with my articulated screen.
Well, it ended up being a 30-shot focus stack, otherwise the background was a bit too sharp. I started my focus stack at this point and the machine worked backwards. I rather liked this version initially with the extra fungi on the right hand side, but the corner bottom right was just too dominant for me. I think the single biggest disappointment I had is how Photoshop performed. It's worked brilliantly to 3 to 5 shot landscape focus stacks, but this was far too much for it to handle. So I've invested in a $30 1-year subscription to Helicon, and it actually does the job. Another thing that actually is extraordinarily annoying, working your camera upside down.
F4, 20th of a second, kind of hoping for the best really. And 80 shots.
Muscle memory, goes completely out the window. Honestly.
I might change that to 50. It seems to be OTT.
You think?
This log is a gift that just keeps on giving, and because this particular subject is higher up, it means I don't have to put things upside down because it's blimmin' difficult trying to sort out which button to press when you're upside down. Things people don't tell you about, eh? I'm focusing on the outer edge or the closest edge to me so it can actually do its stack going in the background.
This was a case, I think, of me getting a bit excited and not taking enough photos. Look how distracting that background element is at the bottom and top of this photo. And because of the uniformity of this background, well, it was very hard to disguise. Thus, basic edits only.
Oops.
What now?
Whilst photographing, I was lying on the floor. A cyclist came along, didn't hear him, I was so engrossed that he thought I'd had a bit of an accident. So he hopped off his bike to help me, which was really kind of him.
Indeed it was.
And a little bit embarrassing.
Twit.
I've just been informed there's some really nice ones up there, so off I go with my kit. Take my kit. Oh man. Look at this. Actually, there's quite a few of them around looking here. Look at those, that's ridiculous. I think I'm gonna have a little jig. Yes! Okay, now I don't need to cock it up. That's what I don't need to do. Although this is actually a really exciting find, I need to make sure I just pick my subjects carefully, remembering to go under, and actually sometimes you just need a single specimen or one or two that are really close together.
So I spent a good couple of hours with my bottom in the air, photographing and playing. And after I show you my photos, well, I'm going to explain to you the lessons I've learnt, because this has really been the steepest and quickest learning curve I've ever had.
I'm not going to lie, I can see why this is quite addictive, but I do need to watch a lot more Courtney Victoria videos, for that woman knows exactly what she's doing, and she wouldn't be running around like a headless chicken. She'd probably be dancing though. That you'll never get from me.
You know when you can't unsee something? Well, something's a bit winky right here. Can't figure out what it is or how it's happened. And also that leaf in the front bugs me. Fussy mare.
I have been at this malarkey for about 4.5 hours, and it feels like it's gone by in pretty much of an instant. It's lifted my spirits, but I must admit I'm a little bit knackered, so I'm going to go back and have an old person's half-hour kip, have a look at stuff on the computer and just check that I actually am using this multi-shot thing properly. Because if I've set it up wrongly, I've got a whole morning's worth of stuff which won't be okay. At least if I need to, I can come back over the weekend. So all is not lost completely yet.
Well, you will have seen I had some successes, but I did go back. And my goodness, I did not appreciate the importance of timing when shooting fungi. 1 minute they're there, the next minute their spores have dispersed and they're over.
The last 24 hours have been quite a learning curve, and thankfully my photo buddy Ben seems to be a bit of a genius at photo stacking and got me out of a hole. I'm going to link his video at the end because it saved my bacon.
So, to those lessons.
First up, if you're going to do multiple shots for a focus stack, this is my biggest lesson. Take that off and do a shot of your hand in between each stack. Otherwise, when you get home, you will spend hours trying to determine the beginning and the end of each grouping. Next up, think quite carefully about the increments that you're doing, how wide, how narrow. Now, I know that my camera adjusts for whatever F number I've got, but on some of them, it looks like it's almost jumped a little bit too wide, so I've got in focus, out of focus, in focus, out of focus, as you're going a little bit further back in my subject. Not brilliant. So narrower for me seems to work better. I varied the number of shots that I took between 50 and 80. I'm not sure I really needed to take that many. However, at least I had the flexibility to choose the number of shots that I eventually merged. Sometimes I was 30, sometimes I went up to 50. Sometimes it made the background look really weird. Disappointingly, Photoshop wasn't really up for the macro photo stacking job. It does well in my normal scenes, my normal landscape scenes, but it really didn't in this case. So, having consulted Ben, I ended up getting Helicon, which was 30 US dollars, about 23 pounds something, and it is an eye-opener.
Next, if you see a glorious intimate scene, shoot it. Don't wait, because the chances are it won't be there when you return. Well, despite feeling like someone's whacked me with a baseball bat, I confess I really enjoyed this learning curve. It doesn't hurt every now and then to stretch yourselves. These are the only shots that I think are passable. I'd love to know any tips that you can give me for the next fungi season.
Well, thank you for joining me today at my first attempt at shooting fungi. Wherever I am next time, I look forward to taking you with me. In the meantime, have a cracking couple of weeks.